Advanced Research Center. She is responsible for the strategic direction of the organization and its research programs, which are designed to facilitate a sustainable management of air, energy, and water resources. Her talk is going to be called Connecting the Dots Between Information and Engagement. Please give a warm round of applause for Lisa Gonzales. You got it?
Thank you so much. So happy that everybody's out here for Earth Day today. My name is Lisa Gonzales, and I manage the Houston Advanced Research Center. We're a sustainability nonprofit, and our mission is research. So we conduct a lot of research, we manage research on issues that relate to air, water, and energy issues. And so what I would like to talk to you today about is how to connect information to engagement. A lot of us use the word engagement, but we don't always know what we're talking about, even in the nonprofit community. And so the way that we move from accessing information and turning that into action is actually a process. And so I thought today we could talk about that. And so I'm one of those folks. I know there are folks here today who were born and raised in Houston and Southeast Texas. So you know a lot about the history, you know a lot about the environmental issues perhaps, and some of the risks of living on the Texas coast. But a lot of us, myself included, actually come from other cities, other states, even other countries. So when we move here, I came from the cornfields of Illinois. When I moved here, I knew nothing about what it's like to live on the Gulf Coast of the U.S. and what it's like to go through a hurricane season and that sort of thing. So how do you process, or how do you move through the process of being a person who doesn't know a lot about the region to somebody who knows how to access information and turn that into action? And so the first thing that it requires us to do is to ask questions. And a lot of times that can be the most difficult part of the process because we often don't want to admit to what we don't know. But that's really an important first step to take. And the great thing about events like Earth Day is that there are tons of booths, and everybody at those booths is ready to answer your questions. And if you don't know what question to ask, you can actually walk up and ask the folks at the booth, what are the top 2 or 3 issues that I should know about that you work on? And what are the main sources of information that should I look at to learn about this issue? As you can see represented by the different booths that we have here at Earth Day, there are a lot of environmental issues that you can put your time towards in Houston. And really what that requires is just finding out about which issue speaks to you personally and which issue you connect with. If you have kids that suffer from asthma or some other lung health issues, air quality might be the thing that you really get excited about. If you're somebody who unfortunately flooded in Hurricane Harvey or the Tax Day floods or the Memorial Day floods, flooding and water and bayou issues might be something that really gets you interested. If you are a person who likes to recreate on Galveston Bay, or maybe you live in that part of Houston, there are some really great resources with coastal information. And if you're a person that likes to hike and bike and kayak and just get out into natural spaces, there are also some great sources of information to access. So first, just try to determine which issue it is that you want to devote your time to moving forward. Once you know what your issues are, once you know how to ask the right questions, the next step is getting the answers to those questions. The great thing about Houston is that we've got a ton of information tools. And now with things like the internet and smartphones, there are a lot of different places that you can go to learn about different issues that you care about. If you're a person who cares about water quality, you can go to the Galveston Bay report card, galvbaygrade.org. You can enter in your address and find out about the water quality in the watershed that you either live or work in. If you're interested in flooding and that's the issue that you care about, there are some great resources out there. There's HoustonConsortium.org, which is the Greater Houston Flood Mitigation Consortium. If you live in Harris County, there's also a flood education mapper. You can actually go and find out whether or not you live in a floodplain, or how close to the floodplain you live in. We've also got the Harris County flood warning system. So when we do get a really strong rain event, you can actually keep an eye on that bayou near your home. So those are some of the great resources around flooding. If you care about other types of water quantity, maybe it's drought, there's the Texas drought map. Right now it tells us that 65% of the state of Texas is already in drought condition. It's something that we don't think about here in East Texas since it's raining pretty regularly. But once you get past I-35, it's kind of a different set of conditions. There is also other sources of information about water quantity through the USGS Water Development Board, and it's called Water Data for Texas. So some really great resources. If you care about wetlands and natural places, again, you can go to the Galveston Bay Report Card, and you can also go to State of the Bay. So there are some great sources of information on things like wetlands, how oyster reefs are doing, seagrass, that sort of thing. So once you start getting access to those answers, the next step is, after asking the question, getting the answers, the next step is discussion. And so with things like social media, it's really easy to engage people and to share information through your circle of influence. But it's important to get beyond the 140 characters, the 280 characters, and actually have a discussion. And that's another great reason to have events such as Earth Day, because it can help you to find those organizations that can help you to connect and have those discussions moving into the next year. After you have those discussions, the next step is to make a decision about what you want to do next. And that's when you actually get to the step that's action. So moving from that process of knowing what information to seek, how to get it, and now turning it into action. There are a lot of ways to do that in the Houston region. And again, Earth Day is a great way to find the organizations that can help you to connect throughout the rest of the year. And that's basically my call to action for those who are listening today, is as you're out here at Earth Day, find those organizations. And I know you've gotten tons of information and signed up for newsletters. Most of the organizations out here today have some sort of newsletter that now usually they email, usually monthly or quarterly, to tell you about what they're doing. You can also go to the CECHouston.org website, and there's always a calendar of events. There's a directory of organizations to tell you kind of who the organizations are that work on the issues that you care about. But figure out a way to connect with those organizations into the future and get involved throughout the year. There are also some wonderful events such as Marshmania, trash cleanups, other ways that you can get out there and get engaged. So that's my call to you today, coming from a data organization, is don't just let Earth Day be that one day a year. Get out there, find those resources to answer those questions that you have about the Houston environment. Even at our website at harkresearch.org, if you go to gis.harkresearch.org, you can actually go to a lot of the data and mapping applications that we create, because that's also something that we do. Since we work on a host of different issues, we try to bring together different data sets so that members of the public can go to that website, kind of a one-stop shop, and start learning about more information. So with that, I just want to thank you all for being here. Don't give up the process of trying to find knowledge and information and turn that into action that you can take throughout the rest of the year. Thank you very much.
Guys, keep it going for Leslie Gonzales. We also have a gift. Asha from the CEC has a gift for her for speaking for us. Again, that's hard.